And we should be live. Let me go ahead and check. It says we're live, but are we actually live?
Still not seeing anything, but it is probably YouTube being YouTube.
Yeah. Okay, it looks like we are officially live. Yep, we are. Awesome. All right, hello everyone, Ace here. Welcome to today's live stream. I'm joined today with returning guest Orososium.
Hello everyone.
Welcome to the live stream, Oros. And today we are back with some more Knights of the Old Republic. Although today has actually been kind of active on the good news department, because there's a couple of things that have come out either today or within the past few days. I figured I'd touch on before getting into the actual comic itself. First one is Star Wars related because it turns out the X-Wing Alliance upgrade is, in fact, the latest edition is, in fact, alive. So this is a graphical upgrade to X-Wing Alliance from 1999, a true classic among Star Wars flight sims. And, yeah, they've added in a bunch of new HD stuff, and they've even added in a brand new starfighter, specifically the U-Wing, which you can apparently fly around in. So that is quite nice. I'm actually curious to see what else they end up adding later on as well. But yeah, I'm going to be happy to check that out. And then another thing, a game that I've absolutely loved for a decade now, is getting a brand new DLC, showing it's still getting love and attention a decade later, and that is Wargame Red Dragon. They are getting the Italians as a new Armed Forces pack, who get a whole bunch of new stuff. The Italians apparently, during the Cold War, converted the old M1 Garand by giving it a detachable box magazine and giving it select fire capability.
Why not?
I will have to admit, I'm kind of impressed with that. And then they give them a whole bunch of other stuff like the AR-7090. So we're going to have the Alpini and the Bergieri and all that, various elite Italian forces in. So yeah, people who've been wanting to see the Italians added into the game are going to be very happy, I'm pretty sure, to see this news. I'm happy to see that this game is still getting updates and new stuff a decade after it has released, because, well, it's a great game, and yeah, anyone who has played this game or has played the Steel Division games will know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that I'm really looking forward to this, and why I'm looking forward to this.
Because you want to do more war crimes.
Yes. Bring on the napalm. I'm actually going to also be curious to see what other new stuff they add for the Italians, because the last DLC was the South Africans, and they added in some pretty unique stuff for them as well. And apparently the Italians are going to have a lot of really interesting choices from what I'm seeing here when it comes to their Marine deck builds. So that'll be nice, because they have both the Lagunari and the Maro both in as for Marine deck options. So there you go. Anyways, let's actually get into the actual comic itself that we have, of course, all come here today to read. So yeah, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, we're up to issue 20 now. And I believe the last issue we had a pretty interesting plot twist where this dude is trying to sell super weapons to basically the highest bidder, and that potentially includes the Mandalorians.
I mean, it is profit, it is war.
Yes, it is. So, let's see what we have here. I'll read this here. Not so fast, Jedi. Let's not do anything we'll regret.
Not to be that guy, but I am pretty sure that at this point, anything you do, you are going to regret.
Yes.
I mean, all those are assassin droids.
It looks like it.
Then again, there are so many droid models, you can get lost in it.
Mm-hmm. Alright, let's go ahead and continue. Days of Hate, Part 2. With Jarrell as his hostage, the Arcanian magnate Lord Adisa forces Campa to finish the secret project he began years ago. Weaponizing the Exogorths, colossal space slugs that devour anything in their path, multiplying as they do. That power now in his clawed hands, Adisa acts to improve his own position in the Mandalorian War. Not only does he invite Admiral Kareth of the Republic and Alec of the Mandalorian-fearing Jedi sect to bid on the new weapon, but also Mandalore himself. But while the hideous weapon is auctioned in one part of the Arcanian legacy, Adisa has locked away a couple of uninvited guests. Zane Carrick, imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit, and Lucian, the very master who framed Zane and has tried to kill him.
Awkward.
So, yeah, this is going to be interesting.
How long ago was the last time we read this comic? Because I don't remember now.
It's been a few months because we have just had so much High Republic to get through. So much of it. Like, we've had to deal with... And, yeah. The good news is...
I was going to say, do you remember the good old days that we had to wait perhaps a month or so for a new comic because they were trying to do it justice, and now they pump it one a week, it seems like sometimes.
Yeah, because they have at least 4 comic book series or so going at the same time. Because we had at one point, I'm pretty sure, we had Shadows, well, I'm not sure if Shadows of Starlight started or ended before the latest run of the High Republic and Adventures and whatnot began. But we've got High Republic Adventures, that one Crash Landing or whatever it was, one-off. And we also had... the latest one, Saber for Hire, I think it is, all of which coming out in exactly the same time. And we're also going to have a few more one-offs as well, because of course we will.
I still don't know how they can lose so much money and still keep going.
Because they had a lot of money to begin with. And
yes,
so did BlackRock.
They have.
So did BlackRock have a whole bunch of money, but... The thing with losing money is eventually you will run out. And this includes BlackRock as well. And
that's true. But holy shit, it doesn't look like it is going to happen.
But it will be really, really glorious when it does, and when they do finally circle the drain and go under. And that is going to happen. And no amount of money printer goes burr is ever going to be able to fix that. If anything, it's actually going to accelerate the problem. Because all that would mean is all the money that these companies have saved up to that point is increasingly less valuable.
Tell them that it doesn't seem like it has sunk yet.
Yeah,
but at least we still have the old comics that are good.
Mm-hmm. So, let me read some of the comments here. Nico says, all the war crimes, a bit of palate cleanser before reading the next High Republic, said to be coming this July. Yes, I did hear about that. And yes, I am not happy about that. Siege says, a weapon of mass destruction, too much high-ass Republic. Yes, there is such a thing as too much High Republic. And that is any issue more than 0, unless it's the Blade.
Yeah, and even then it was just okay. I mean, for the High Republic, it is very good, but still,
it is decent. The Blade is actually decent. Nico says, "Give like a Titanic, give it time to sink." Yes, but if they make the money printers go burr, it's going to be less like the Titanic and more like the Lusitanic or Lusitania. Sorry. And
The problem is that they want to sink another ship while they are at it.
Yep. But they are actually also starting to try to get rid of the the DIE initiatives.
I hear that a lot of companies and a lot of people in general are trying to get rid of that a bit too late for my liking.
Well, yeah, because they finally realized how thoroughly they fucked up, but...
I mean, if you want to hire whoever, go ahead, but at least try to hire someone that is qualified for the job.
I'm actively convinced at this point that it's not even just hiring randos. Well, it's clearly not just hiring randos because of the skin they were born with or something stupid like that. Because here's the thing. Even if you hired some random person off the street, right? They would not be producing stuff as shitty as High Republic. You have to go to people, you have to go to legitimate ideologues who are pushing the... So it's not even a case of just hiring random people who are unqualified. It's actively hiring ideologues. That's the issue here. Because if you hire...
I am not going to say that everyone they hire is incompetent, though they make it at least look like it. But a lot of these people have said that they don't like the things they are working with. I mean, we have someone working on Halo, and they didn't like designing weapons.
Yeah.
That is like shooting yourself on the foot.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm convinced that the people that the thing is, right? I can't even say it's I'm not even sure you could call it just diversity hires, because it's not that. It's actively seeking out ideologues. That's the issue here. And they're just using the whole diversity hire more as a scapegoat than anything, it seems, at this point.
Well, most likely, but I mean, other than the damage they are doing to all these stories, all these games, all these brands, they are making people angry in general. This is not going to end well for anyone.
So let's see how many people actually had to read this comic before the general public got to see it. So we have John Jackson Miller, we have Michael Hessler as the letterer, so that's 2 people there. Then we have assistant editor 3, regular editor 4, and...
I don't see more than 4.
Yeah, so 4 people at most appears to have worked or have read the script of this comic before it became public, compared to the usual 12 people that read the script of High Republic. But anyways...
Well, you say they read it. I say they just nod along and get paid.
So let's carry on. Inside the observation dome of the Arcanian Legacy. Well met, Arco, Lord of the Adiskas, and all honor to your family's dead.
You'll be the one who's dead, Mandalore. I don't know why you are here, but your filthy war ends now.
What is this, Adiska? We haven't crossed the battlefront to be pestered by children, though I'll gladly dispatch this one.
You are welcome to try. Let's fuck.
Off! Alec! Back off, Mandalore. Ah, Admiral Karath, is it? Or did you lose the rank as well as your flagship? Recognize this axe. It was forged from your so-called courageous when we began melting it down for scrap. That is savage!
I got your ship and I made a weapon out of it.
And I'm using the weapon to beat the shit out of people you like.
If nothing else, the Mandalorians are always funny.
Yes,
One way or another.
Yes, they are.
DieBold is the...
Yeah, go ahead.
The guy? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and voice him.
Mandalore is here at my invitation. You didn't think you were the only party interested in the Exards, did you? You could sit around comparing small arms, or we could do business for some real weapons. I take it by your presence here you are interested.
Perhaps. We will have to see your control system for the space slugs in action.
And so you shall. Edgy?
Yes, my lord. Command platform, execute test harvest 9.
Acknowledge legacy. The Harvest 9. Ordered. That's the word, people. Make it happen.
I don't guess you'll be needing me for the test.
Not if everything works like it did in the dry run. If the endocrine activity levels spike again, we want your advice, so don't go far.
Where can I go? Ain't much room here.
The space with storage is pretty quiet. There's a place to sit down in there. Not much room, but maybe the droid can wait outside. We're hardly going to get into trouble locking there. You sure about that? The test will begin shortly, Mandalore.
Then I would like to speak with my fellow warrior.
I require my ambassador again, Roland. Let him want you. Go on, spare of our arrangement, and relax. They'll be taking no deserters back today, I promise.
Well met indeed. It isn't often I hear from a dead man, much less one with such an interesting proposition.
I see. You don't work hard New Crusaders now.
Why, that's one more legacy of the great Roland.
The Great.
Roland the Questioner, who sought his own way until rising from his shame to save our troops at Flashpoint. I added the dying speech myself.
Dying speech?
Where he admits that only in strictly obeying commands can victory be achieved. The questioner, he accepts that there is only one answer. And that answer is the word of Mandalore. We've come so far, so fast. We've have problems we've never had. What's that basic word Cassius Fett used? Ah, yes. Logistics. So many new recruits. Different species, different armors, different languages, and not enough time to learn our ways. Cassius first suggested that similar uniforms, like the Legend of Roland, could help get control of a force that has grown beyond control. Control, not a very Mandalorian concept. Not a very Mandalorian war. Would I be here if it were? I've never much liked the look of the Neo-Crusader armor, but the increased order has been very useful. We might even conquer the galaxy because of it. But that out there, that is a discovery. And you had to go off on your own to find it. Are you ready to come back with us?
I think I have found something even more amazing. But it will require more time to know for sure.
I know enough to believe you now. So go. But first, I require you take a new suit of armor from our stores. Roland must remain dead for Mandalore.
I'm telling you, Admiral, we would more than enough ground to arrest Lord Ardashka and turn him over to the Republic.
You want us to arrest Adisa? Son, he's got all the cards. There's only 6 of us, and this isn't a criminal matter anymore anyways. This is an insurrection.
My guests don't seem too happy, Yarael.
That's your problem, Adisa. I'm not your hostess, I am your hostage.
Touchy. I like it. Very well.
Triro! Camper? What? My locator bracelet. Triro, is that you? I haven't got much time. Hold on, let me get clear.
Hey, you're not supposed to leave.
I'm just going to the alcove for some air. You can see me from there.
I have brought Mandalore here as you asked, Alaska. No, we were ready to leave. With Triy, like you promised.
Impossible. I haven't completed my deal yet. When it is done, you will... What? What? It is the test.
No, my lord. The lab called. It's about the offshoot woman's blood sample. They said it was important. They speak to one of us in person.
Ah, very well. Return quickly.
Never mind. I need to make an armor change. But we will take this up when I return.
Patience, gentlemen. The test is almost ready.
Camper, I'm so sorry. I never meant for them to find you. It's all right, Gerald. They fooled me once too, but you've got to get out of there. Get to the last resort. Camper, I can't. There are armed guards and droids all around, and the ship's locked up in the starboard bay. Well, maybe I can use that. I'm over on the control station. Forgot about that. Has Adisa hurt you? No. And there are people here who can help me, Squint. From Flashpoint. And Zane's here, too. The kid? That's good. That's good. They can help me escape, Pereiro. You don't have to help Adisa. He's trying to sell your system to control the slugs. Maybe to Mandalore. I won't quit while he's got you. Sorry, I never talked about the old times, Jarell. I could have told you what he was like, what they're all like. I knew what Adiska's grandfather had in mind for the slugs, and still I studied them because they were interesting. That's my fault. They're up to no good. All those diseases in the offshoot areas. Adisa released them there. What? The company designed them, Gerald. Adiska's grandpa and old man wanted to put the offshoots down to drive them out of Arcadian society. Why? Why would they do such a thing?
Because megacorps are evil. Because you can't trust an offshoot.
Correct?
genetic mistake, and I thought you might be something special.
Smack?
She is. Leave here alone, Adasa, or killer droids or not, I'll drop you.
Let's not do anything we'll regret. There's still business to be done. Personal matters aside.
Is that you, Gorman Van Drake?
Yeah.
You finish the job you were hired to do. Or she becomes our plague designer. Next test job. Do you understand me?
I understand you. I've always understood you. Meanwhile, in a secure area high atop the Arcanian Legacy. Well, my Padawan, you did say you would find me.
This is not what I had in mind. Can you move back here?
No, we're locked tight.
Good.
Who else of your friends are here, Zane? The girl from the Jedi Tower, perhaps?
Uh-huh. Ah, no. Yes, it is. It is your character. I thought it was mine.
Aha! She is. But Griff isn't. Vanilla did say he would abandon you. I guess he finally did. If you are to bring the Sith back down upon the galaxy, the con artist can't be much help to you. And if it isn't, your friendship puts him in danger.
Oh, that's right, Lothian. You kill all my friends, don't you?
This defiance, this was in Shad's character. Never yours, Zane. Is this Griff the source of this new attitude?
You want the source? Tray sad on the ground, dead at your feet. You're amazing. You haven't sent Rana after my family.
How did you know about that? Never mind. We were just trying to find you. Nobody was going to be hurt.
That's not how Rana relayed it.
Rana is not at her best right now. Her nightmares about you are so bad she's hardly slept since Taurus. Her warnings or wariness used to give her an edge.
No, she's just edgy.
Now she's a wreck.
Good. If it is my fault.
Of course it is. It isn't her fault you're fated to bring the Sith among us. Look at yourself. Just now, your fear led to anger, anger to hate. You know what's next.
No thanks. You can keep the dark side to yourself.
Why would I be exposed to the dark side? The Force told us you were a threat, and we answered. Jedi kill every day for less. If Jedi are going to begin falling to the dark side for doing the right thing, there soon won't be any left.
I don't think it works that way.
Then you weren't listening to what we were teaching you.
Okay, I know why I am locked up here. What does Lord Adasa have against you?
Well, we know each other pretty well.
That will do it.
Adisa and I were part of the same extended family. Money. Our fathers were colleagues in finance. After my father died, I was invited often to summer with the Adisas in Arcania. Arco was spoiled then, and he's spoiled now. He plays the charming host, but it's all about setting you up for what he wants. This time, I think his appetite's finally gotten out of control. What do you know about these space creatures?
They send their slugs through hyperspace to a system where they multiply and eat everything afloat, before sending the parents on to the next system. He has some way of controlling them.
They won't stay controlled for long, if you believe the visions my associates have been having.
Their visions ruined my life and made you a murderer. I am not a big fan of their work.
Well, I never have visions myself, but I respect their word and their warning. When you have a terrible vision that comes true, you'll see.
Maybe.
That's enough talk. I think it's about feeding time again, don't you think?
What? What you have in mind?
Just follow me.
Like I have a choice.
Smash. Clang. Kdoo.
Hey, what the?
What? Oh, right. Sorry, my bad. My lightsaber. Where is it?
They are only stone, looks like.
Aha!
Not very light side of you.
Yeah? What's this?
Pre-kite braces. A gift from a friend. You know friends? People you trust.
You know I had to try.
I am not afraid of you anymore.
I know. That's why we're afraid of you. Take this. We'll settle up after we sort out Adisa.
This is Exard Command. All specimens are currently in active mode, Lord Adisa. Oh, I didn't remember they were so damn big.
Mm-hmm.
We are orbiting nearby and ready to induce the creature's sleep cycle on your command. Very good, command platform. Stand by on this channel. My guests, that planetoid will supply them with a dense mixture of metals. You can see what sort of work they are making of it. We've accelerated their metabolism, their growth rate, their reproduction. Think of it as living factories of destruction. You just show them where to feed. One second.
Alright, let me read some of the comments while we wait here. Siege says, the worms in the comic are a weapon of mass consumption. Effort has to go into that level of shit. Anyways, back to something normal. It's all basically operation to get behind Darky from South Park. Oh, dear. Yeah, it basically is. If we're talking about the whole... about wokeness and comics and all media in general... The thing is, the activist types are basically just using DEI as a more or less a human shield than anything to basically escape any and all criticism of what actually warrants criticism. Well, I will say this: hiring people based on the color of their skin does absolutely warrant criticism. The thing I'm getting at, though, is that the bigger picture issue here is the ideologues who are actively trying to subvert our forms of entertainment, which you see all the time with High Republic. The fact that they've been trying to... Well, the fact that space is real is a thing, and that they've created it specifically to talk about the oppression of space Palestinians in the comic is fucking insane. But it is a part, unfortunately, of the High Republic comics at this point.
So I got back from the car, and the first thing I heard is Space Palestinians.
Yeah, we're talking about High Republic again while you were away. Because
Okay, sorry about that. I got a little car.
No, that's okay. Siege is laughing. Nico says, "Listen to Head Gimp. He knows what's up." And so big, wink, wink.
Oh, fuck you.
I mean, these space slugs are supposed to be massive enough that you can hide the Millennium and Falcon in one of them and not even know it. So.
Oh, it is those.
Yes.
Okay.
Siege.
I mean, from the design of the movie to this, it is very different. That, and I was seriously not sure if they could fly, you know? Then again, there are a lot of creatures in Star Wars that are spaceborne.
Yeah, to be fair, okay, so two things. One, these things have to basically be able to get to the asteroids one way or another.
Yeah.
And we did only see maybe half of one in Empire Strikes Back. But anyways, oh yeah. Siege says, progress photos posted, coffee time. Nice. Alright.
Okay, this character has not yet spoken. Do you want him or?
Alright. I think I've seen enough. You mind if I head back to the deadweight Admiral? Weak stomach, Onassi? Don't be long.
Space stations, asteroids gone, tidal disruptions on planets whose moons are fractured. Given enough time and numbers, who knows? Maybe the planets themselves. Don't you care what happens to the people? You didn't care what happened to mine, Jedi. Your wars with the Mandalorians is soon to engulf Arcania. A war we had no role in starting. Hell, I care what happens to them. I choose to place Arcania above this conflict. And this is how.
Destroyed systems are of little use to us Arcadian, but we will bargain to keep this weapon out of the Republic's hands, or the Jedi for that matter. We're one and the same. Are you? What's with the recent interest and intrigues, Mandalore? You were supposed to be a warrior. You want slugs. Why don't you just take them? As remote as it is, this is still Republic space. Besides, I have learned something. Politics is simply a continuation of war by other means. You know, this is actually inverse on the statement that war is basically a continuation of politics by other means.
I mean, they are both right in a way.
Yeah, it is interesting to see the perspective of, well, a group as militaristic as the Mandalorians on this, though.
Yeah, mostly because usually politics only devolves into a lot of blaster fire with them.
Yeah.
But I suppose everyone can negotiate sometimes.
It's also kind of like how I'm kind of also reminded of the old saying that where most states possess an army, the Prussian army possesses a state.
Well, if it is true, it's true.
Yeah. Siege says full spectrum warfare. Yeah. Yeah, let's go ahead and continue.
Yes.
So here is my one and only offer, Adisa. Our forces would leave Arcania as your principality.
I already have that.
From which you would administer the Mandalorian war forges. Adisa Corps would effectively become the supplier of the entire war effort. No Republic corporations will survive our final conquest, but yours. Lord Adisa, weaponsmith to all the clans.
No, that will be a megacorp.
Yeah.
I mean, if you conquer the whole galaxy and you have just one company making weapons, that is slightly overpowered or stupid. I am not sure which one.
Well, I know what to call it. The Adeptus Mechanicus.
True. Very fucking true. Oh. But well, let's continue. I want to see what happens. Alaska, no!
Such an alliance would serve us well. We have recently lost our chief man of science. When we conquer the Republic together, your scientists' frontiers will be limitless.
That Senate seat you offer is looking a bit paltry now, eh, Cara?
I see what you mean.
He's utterly fucked.
A medical lab elsewhere in the Arcanian legacy. Doctor, this can't be true. This means the offshoot woman is...
I didn't believe it myself, but it checks out. I knew you would want to see this personally.
No wonder his lordship took such an interest in her. He could probably sense what she really is. I must contact him right away.
Right!
You! What are you doing here?
Protecting the threat. Knowledge is for the worthy, and this knowledge is only for me.
Is that the end of the comic?
Yep, there is nothing else.
Well, this definitely, even though this was more of a talky comic than much of an action comic, it is still fucking good.
For comparison, I think it was last week when you had a talky comic about with the High Republic.
Oh god, don't remind me.
That is one kind of talky comics we don't want to see, but this one had things you wanted to know about. The story was nice, the characters were interesting.
Yes, and every single time, they also have a cliffhanger that instantly makes you want to read the next issue. Like this, okay, so what is this big secret that is with Jarrell that even Adisa doesn't necessarily know, but wants to sit and thinks she's extremely important. That is starting to make me curious.
I mean, it is far more interesting than knowing when these two lesbians are going to ask the other for marriage.
Yes. The lesbian marriage plotline that was going on throughout the last High Republic adventures was god fucking awful. There was zero intrigue for obvious reasons, and it was just supposed to be played off as a lighthearted, oh, they're getting married nonsense, but it's supposed to be a Star Wars comic, and it doesn't work.
I mean, I don't know if it was me, but I just thought that the two guys in that starship were asking the other mentally when I am going to jump out in hyperspace, because I am done with this shit. Because look, when the first one asked them about this, I was done with it. Mm-hmm. But when the second one did the same thing, I wanted to kill someone.
Yeah. Nico says, was done so quick, no need for nitpicking. Yeah, that's another thing, right? So, you know how the High Republic comics typically take us an hour. This so far has taken us 45 minutes, and that is with multiple breaks in between, or at least one break that took a few minutes or so. And it also is with me talking about some of the news in gaming, what with the new Nation Pack coming for Wargame Red Dragon, as well as the X-Wing Alliance upgrade release.
Yeah, I mean, it was what? In total, perhaps 10 minutes or so, and the rest was us reading the comic and maybe making a comment here or there that wasn't that long.
Yeah, so if you probably looked at the total amount of time we actually read the comic, it was maybe 35 minutes.
Yeah, and to be perfectly honest, it was a very well spent 35 minutes because it has been so long since I read these comics that it is always nice to read them again.
Yes. It's just a genuinely really good comic book series, and one I have to thoroughly recommend you read. This one was also, I will admit, also was dialogue heavy, which probably did increase the runtime for the actual reading of the comic. But then the actual dialogue was actually really engaging and interesting. It's not, oh, these two characters getting married and they are trying to propose to each other.
And worse, the times when we have a talky comic in the High Republic that has nothing to do with romance, it is still shit. It is still horrible characters talking with one another, usually about shit that has nothing to do with what is going on. In fact, sometimes it has happened when they are about to die, and they still have time to say things that have no importance. Like, how is everyone feeling? We are about to die. How do you think we are feeling, you asshole?
Siege says, good storytelling allows the mind to flow with the characters and setting. Bad storytelling cannot hold your attention, and therefore your mind seeks entertainment elsewhere, usually memes. Yes, or just laughing at the sheer stupidity on display. Like watching Dark Universe, for example.
Yes. I mean, if we have to say something good, and it is not good, about the High Republic, it is that it is so stupid that you have content for years now.
Yes, I have. I am still making shorts. I might actually just be about the precipice of being done with making shorts of issue 2 of High Republic Adventures.
If you pick every short, every moment you thought was worthwhile to make a short, you are going to make, at the very least, a 4-hour long video. Longer, probably.
At least? The live stream series has almost 100 live streams of High Republic. Most of them are an hour or so too long.
Yes, but your shorts, I was going to say, pick only specific parts, but every short is, it is almost the whole comic in some cases.
Yes. So
oh my fucking god.
It would basically be, I'm not even sure that I could actually get away with showing, I'm not even sure that YouTube would allow a video long enough to pick apart every single thing wrong with High Republic.
I am not considering it might be a day-long video. Perhaps longer.
It might legitimately be a full day-long video just going over every single thing wrong with High Republic. I don't know if I actually can do a video that long on YouTube. And holy shit, imagine trying to even try. I'm just thinking of it from a logistics perspective. I would have to save so much hard drive space just to have all the live streams good to go. I would need to spend so many fucking days editing it all together. And then I have no idea how long the upload time or the actual file size itself would be.
I am going to hazard a guess and say that you might kill YouTube if you do that.
Please don't tease me with a good time. Imagine the algorithm having to try to throttle the views on that video, but because it's 24 plus hours long, it nevertheless ends up just... At least I'll have enough mid-breaks or mid-break ads to basically keep the thing guaranteed to give me money.
Well, I am going to say this at the very least. If you were to do that and it went through, you will live in the mind of the internet forever. If nothing else, because you made a video that almost killed YouTube.
The algorithm's is already having a tough time because I still make videos that do actually reasonably well. One thing I have noticed for the record is YouTube seems to be set on trying to limit the number of views I get. Sometimes it doesn't really necessarily work. But here's the thing. I notice whenever I make a video that does really well, okay. But then the very next day, I'm right back down to 10,000 views in a day or so.
I wonder why.
And it does this over and over and over again. And the videos that were going viral previously, all of a sudden, miraculously stop getting views.
That is because you say bad things about people we like.
And yeah, like I said, it seems to be very consistently hovering around the 10,000 view mark per day. Just getting the old noggin jogging there.
I mean, 10,000 is still not bad, but I am sure it could be bigger.
I am very sure of that. I mean, people are still commenting on the whole dev situation for Short Fat Otaku. And are still. I've actually had people asking me to try to do follow-up videos as well. I've been kind of thinking of it, but I've also been kind of wanting to actually not do to kind of also move on from that, from the whole Short Fat Otaku situation, at least for the time being. If he decides to be an ass and decides to flare shit up again on his own, then yeah, it's absolutely go. But
I mean, I will not put it past him, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't following him for a long time, but it has been going downhill very fast.
Yes, it has. And I've actually, I've considered just saving up some of the things that he said about me that have just been flat out lies. Or things that he said that's been flat out lies, and then just juxtaposing them with the actual comments, sometimes from him himself, that completely derail the whole lie he said. Like, he's actually tried to argue, I forget what it was exactly. If you give me a moment, I'll probably remember. But anyways, but yeah, he's sorry, trying to think of a really good example. I do know he once tried to argue that Donald Trump was, for example, the worst U.S. president in history, period. And I know people, worse than guys like Woodrow Wilson, the president that was most responsible for bringing the Klan back, and that is with absolutely zero exaggeration.
Yeah, I mean, he has very tough competition if he has to be the worst.
Yeah, he even says he's worse than George W. Bush, which is really funny. Imagine saying that all the shit that Bush did, and he's still not as bad as Trump. For reasons.
My man, I was alive with that asshole in power, so I remember perfectly well what he did.
Yes, me too.
I mean, let's be perfectly honest. I do like Trump. I don't like everything he says or does, but it is very hard to like someone for everything they do. Still, to say he is the worst is not a stretch, it's something fantastic.
I do know that he's also the thing is, he also tries to mischaracterize the complaints he gets. He seems to think that with Trump supporters, they'll just lose their shit over the slightest criticism, which isn't really true. most of the stuff I've seen from Trump supporters has been, well, yes, he's a bull in a china shop. Yes, he is. Yes, he can be very, very in your face a lot of times. But that's also kind of his charm at the same time. That's also kind of what we need at this point as a president, is what the Trump sort of supporters position is. We kind of need the bull in a china shop approach. It's not. It is a fault, but it's also a feature.
It's not a bug, it's a feature. But I mean, with so long having the same kind of politicians that they are two-faced assholes in most cases. Trump doesn't say the truth all the time, but hey, at least when he thinks something, he usually tells you what he thinks, for better or worse.
I mean, most of Trump's lies can be summed up as Trump has an ego and will oversell himself.
Very, very big.
Which, yes, he does have an ego, and he will oversell himself. But he does produce results.
Which is more than you can say for most presidents.
But the thing is, Dev will try to mischaracterize the reason people are actually pissed off at him over the Trump stuff, because Dev constantly pushes double standards on Trump that he does not push for Biden. Right? So, for example, when he said, for example, he was actually trying to defend the whole Biden stuff when Biden was saying that they need to put a bullseye on Trump. And he's saying that's not actually incitement. But then he'll pick the most but I've seen him pick the most inane things that Trump has said and say that this was Trump trying to incite violence.
Yeah, that is what you'd call a hypocrite.
I've seen him just defend Joe Biden over the whole Hunter Biden laptop story, or the suppression of it. And what's interesting is the fact that if you actually look at what constitutes election fraud, suppression of information or misinformation is considered an example of election fraud. Which means that according to the logic that Short Fat Otaku presented, Biden attempted to steal the election. Or to put it another way, the FBI committed insurrection against Donald Trump by rigging the election in Biden's favor that way, right?
Indeed.
But then he'll also go around and say that the Eastman memo, which is actually a legal process that doesn't even fit the definition of a coup that he's describing, is still somehow an insurrection. Even though A, Congress had to pass a law years later to address it afterwards. In other words, if it wasn't illegal, then why did Congress have to make the law to make it illegal later on?
I mean, if you count it as being illegal because it is illegal now, and that is being generous, it still doesn't work, because when this was found or done or whatever, it was still legal. So there is, technically speaking, no problem there.
Yes. Also, Trump has never been charged with insurrection or trying to actually... Trump has never been charged over the Eastman memo as a coup attempt or insurrection, which is very funny because we're dealing with the government as it is right now, where they're trying to find whatever they can on him, and have been trying to find whatever they can on him for years. But this is apparently a step too far, even though it somehow in Dev's mind is a valid reason to arrest him for reasons.
At this point, I don't know how or what they want to do with the man.
And then,
because they are throwing everything at him and nothing sticks.
And then the third part, and this is the spicier one, but I'm going to mention it as well. Dev has openly said in the past, right, that if the election were actually stolen, then everything that Trump would have done was completely justified. Everything that Trump and Trump supporters did was justified. Dev's argument is that it wasn't. Except he even openly admitted that, yes, the FBI did try to steal the election, but his defense was that because the attempt failed, it's therefore completely okay.
Wait. if the attempt failed, and if it is okay if the attempt failed, why do we still have people taking shit about for what they did? Because they are still people in prison, right?
Yep.
Well, if it is okay because it failed, why don't you let those people go?
I just also need to point out while we're talking about the double standards here. There's guys that have that never even were in DC on Jan 6 who are facing years in prison as a result. But by contrast, Jefferson Davis, the literal president of the Confederacy, spent a grand total of 2 years in jail and then was given a full pardon.
This is what you call bullshit.
Legally speaking, people that were not even in Washington, D.C. are, legally speaking, somehow several times worse than Jefferson Davis, according to the U.S. government.
Methinks there is something wrong in here.
Here's the thing, if you really want to get into morality in U.S. politics and whatnot. Funny thing to say there, because we're talking about morality and politics, which are, I would argue, diametrically opposed a lot of times. But here's the thing about the moral principles in the U.S. If you actually look at the history of rebellions that have occurred in the U.S., a lot of times the people that are committing the rebellions actually get treated rather leniently, at least as far as the law is concerned. A good example, Shays Rebellion, which occurred in the 1780s, I think, maybe early 1790s, which was a rebellion that, and the thing is here, the Colonel Shay himself, right? The guy that the rebellion was named after was not only given a full pardon, but he was even given his pension for a time in the military, which technically included time that he was rebelling whilst in the military.
That is bullshit. You're saying.
Well, here's the thing. The government basically, after looking at the whole Shays Rebellion situation and having some introspection on it, basically came to the conclusion that the rebels in that case had legitimate grievances, and that's why they replaced the Articles of Confederation with the current U.S. Constitution, turning it into a federal republic, because they realized, hey, yeah, these guys did actually have valid grievances. In fact, if you look at the entire rebellion, the only people that were ever hanged in the rebellion were guys that had also committed looting. Which really says it all, doesn't it? Actually, rebelling against the government at the time was not as big of a deal as looting.
That is... Yeah, let's leave it at that.
Yeah, I am going to leave it at that. Similar situation, for the record, with the Whiskey Rebellion later on. But point is, at the time, the Founding Fathers didn't actually see that, if you really wanted to get into it, as that big of a deal. It was shit like assassination attempts, as well as, looting, that were far bigger concerns for them, that they got really pissed off at.
Well, we did have an assassination attempt not long ago.
Yeah, funny that. I'm also going to go ahead and leave the conversation at B, because I think we've been enough on it. Now, granted, this particular stream is going to be a little bit longer, just over an hour, but that's because we've been ranting for a little bit here. But anyways.
Yeah, technically speaking, we finished around 15 minutes ago or so.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that this is definitely a comic book worth reading, and the rant is now over, so I think we can... Well, is there anything you'd like to add to this whole comic book here, Urus?
Well, yeah, I want to add that we are only in issue 20 of 50. So, if for some reason you don't like this comic, a bit too late, because we are 20 issues in. But if you like it, there is still a lot more to go. And to be perfectly honest, I want the High Republic to be done so we can read more of this.
Agreed. And I think that pretty much sums up my thoughts as well, pretty well. So, yeah, this has been Ace.
And this has been Uros.
Thank you for being on.
Whenever you need me, man.
And we hope to